Your phone is in your hand. But deep down, you know this is not really about a video. Something has been pressing on your spirit lately. Like a door you cannot see, but somehow keep hearing from the other side. You have been moving through normal days with an unusual weight in your chest. Smiling when you have to. Answering people when they speak. Doing what must be done. Yet inside you keep sensing that a chapter is closing and another one is standing dangerously close. And the strange part is this: you are not excited the way you thought you would be. You are quiet, careful, almost afraid to hope again. Because the last time you believed something was changing, the waiting stretched longer than your strength. But God has not brought you to this moment to tease your heart. He is not reopening your expectation just to leave you empty-handed. There are prayers you stopped mentioning because they became too painful to repeat. But heaven never stopped carrying them. There are promises you placed on the shelf because life forced you to survive. But God never removed his hand from them. And now, something is turning. Not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. You can feel it in the way certain things no longer fit. In the way certain voices no longer move you. In the way your spirit has become restless around places you once tolerated. Let me tell you that restlessness is not confusion. It is a summons. God is drawing a line between who you had to become to survive and who he is now calling you to become to carry what is next. Do not rush past this message, because before it ends, there is one secret you must understand. The blessing coming toward you may not first appear as comfort. It may appear as a decision, a release, a holy separation, or one act of obedience that changes the entire direction of your life. This is where many people miss God. They expect thunder, but he sends instruction. They expect applause, but he asks for surrender. They expect the door to open first, but heaven often changes the person before it changes the room. And if this is touching something you have not been able to explain, stay with it. Because what comes next will show you why the delay did not destroy the promise. It protected the person chosen to carry it. There is a kind of waiting that does not just test your patience. It starts questioning your identity. You look at your life and wonder why certain things took so long. Why certain doors almost opened and then suddenly shut. Why certain people seemed to move ahead while you were left holding a promise with no proof. And if you are honest, there were moments when you did not just ask God. When you asked him, "Did you forget me?" But listen closely, because this is where your heart needs to be healed. The delay was not denial. The delay was divine positioning. God was not keeping you away from the promise because he was against you. He was keeping you away from the wrong timing because he was protecting what he placed inside you. Some blessings, if they arrive too early, can crush the person who has not yet been strengthened to carry them. Some doors, if they open before your spirit is ready, you can place you in rooms where your gift is celebrated, but your soul is slowly drained. And God loves you too much to give you a crown while your wounds are still deciding your choices. Let me tell you something you may not have wanted to hear at the time. Some of those closed doors were mercy. Some of those unanswered prayers were protection. Some of those sudden removals were not punishment. They were heaven pulling your name out of places that could not hold your future. You thought you were being rejected, but God was rerouting you. You thought you were being hidden, but God was covering you. You thought nothing was happening, but roots were growing in silence. This is why Scripture says in Isaiah 4:3-19, "See, I am doing a new thing. And notice this, God does not say he is asking your past for permission. He does not say he is waiting for your enemies to approve it. He says he is making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. That means the place that looked dry was not empty. It was being prepared for a miracle only God could explain. C.S. Lewis often pointed toward this deeper Christian truth. Our strongest longings are not meaningless accidents. They are signs that the soul was made for more than what this world can immediately offer. So, the hunger in you was not foolish. The ache was not weakness. The dream that would not leave was not childish imagination. It was a holy disturbance, a reminder that your life was never meant to end in survival mode. God is saying, I delayed it because I was aligning it. I slowed it because I was saving it. I withheld the wrong thing because I was preparing the right thing. And now you are entering a moment where the delay begins to make sense. Not all at once, not in a way your mind can fully control, but in pieces, in confirmations, in quiet shifts that show you heaven was never inactive. So do not curse the season that trained your discernment. Do not despise the waiting that purified your desire. Do not call it wasted just because it hurt. If this part is speaking to the season you have lived through, write this in the comments. Lord, I trust your timing, not for attention, not as a performance, but as a small altar in the middle of your process. Because the next thing you must understand is even deeper. God was not only arranging the blessing around you, he was rebuilding the person within you. What you called a difficult season was doing more than slowing you down. It was changing the structure of your spirit. There were parts of you that could only be discovered when nobody was clapping, when no one was checking on you, when the easy version of faith was no longer enough to carry the weight of your real life. You learned things in the dark that success could never have taught you. You learned how to keep your heart soft without becoming foolish. You learned how to be kind without handing your power to people who abused your kindness. You learned how to pray without needing the room to agree with you. You learned how to keep moving when the answer had not arrived, when your emotions were exhausted, when your mind kept asking questions your spirit was too tired to answer. That was not ordinary suffering. That was formation. God was building a version of you that could stand inside the blessing without being swallowed by it. Because there are people who pray for open doors, but have not yet learned how to survive the attention that comes with them. Some people ask for elevation but still need approval so badly that one compliment can control them and one criticism can destroy them. Some people beg for influence but have not yet allowed God to heal the wound that makes them perform for love. But you were taken through a slower fire, not because God was cruel, but because your assignment is heavier than a temporary opportunity. Your calling cannot be carried by a fragile identity. Your next season cannot be led by the same fear that governed your last one. So God let the hidden place do its work. He let silence teach you discernment. He let disappointment expose what you were still depending on. He let separation show you who truly belonged near your future and who only enjoyed access to your weakness. And yes, it hurt. Of course it hurt. Being rebuilt rarely feels like being loved while it is happening. It can feel like stripping. It can feel like loss. It can feel like God is taking more than he is giving. But heaven knew what your eyes could not yet see. The blessing you asked for would require a deeper foundation than the one you had. Romans 8:28 does not say every wound was good, every betrayal was holy, or every painful thing was sent from God. It says God is able to work all things together for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. That means even what the enemy meant to twist you, God can use to train you. Even what embarrassed you, God can turn into wisdom. Even what made you cry in private, God can transform into authority that cannot be faked. C. E.Z. Lewis carried this kind of thought through much of his writing. The Christian life is not God placing a thin layer of comfort over an unchanged soul. It is God remaking the person from the inside until grace reaches places even the person was afraid to face. And this is why you cannot look at your pain the same way anymore. It did not get the final word. It became raw material in the hands of the Redeemer. The rejection taught you not to beg for seats at tables God never assigned to you. The loneliness taught you that solitude with God is not emptiness. The waiting taught you that peace is not the same as having control. The pressure taught you that there is a strength in you that does not come from personality, in talent, or human encouragement. It comes from God. So when the next door opens, you will not walk in desperate to be seen. You will walk in steady. When the next opportunity arrives, you will not worship it. You will steward it. When the next relationship, assignment, platform, provision, or instruction comes, you will not hand your soul over to it as if it is your savior. You will know who sent it, and you will know who you belong to. This is the difference between receiving a blessing and being ready for it. A blessing can change your circumstances, but readiness changes how you carry the circumstances once they change. And God has been making you ready in ways no one could measure from the outside. They saw delay, but heaven saw depth. They saw silence, but heaven saw roots. They saw you standing still, but God was teaching you how not to run from your own becoming. Now pay attention, because when the inner work reaches a certain place, the outer world begins to shift in quiet but undeniable ways. Do not ignore the signs just because they are not arriving in the form you expected. This is where the matter becomes serious. Many people miss the movement of God because they are waiting for a dramatic announcement while heaven is already rearranging their life through quiet removals. Strange discomfort, sudden endings, and holy unrest. You have felt it. You may not have had language for it, but your spirit has known. Something is different. The same conversations that used to entertain you now drain you. The same places you once tolerated now feel too small for your breath. The same patterns you used to excuse now feel dangerous to touch. That is not moodiness. That is not confusion. That is discernment waking up before the door opens. God is not only bringing something to you, He is pulling you away from what cannot survive the weight of your next season. And this is the warning: do not run back to what God is shaking loose. Do not call familiar chains comfort just because freedom feels unfamiliar. Do not mistake the ache of separation for a sign that you made the wrong move. Sometimes the soul trembles when it is being delivered from what it once depended on. Sometimes peace begins as grief, because the old place had become a prison with memories on the walls. Look closer. Certain people are losing access to you, not because you became cold, but because heaven is guarding the oil on your life. Certain doors are closing, not because you failed, but because God refuses to let your future be negotiated in rooms built for your former self. Certain desires are fading, not because you have lost passion, but because your appetite is being purified for something higher. This is not small. This is not casual. This is the invisible surgery of God. He is cutting away what would contaminate the promise. He is silencing voices that once confused your obedience. He is exposing attachments that looked harmless but were quietly feeding fear. Delay, and spiritual exhaustion. If you keep forcing yourself to fit where God has already made you outgrow, you will feel the tension increase. You will feel the grace lift. You will feel your spirit resist what your flesh keeps trying to explain. That resistance is mercy. That discomfort is protection. That inner alarm is not there to punish you. It is there to wake you before you carry old poison into a new promise. Let me tell you plainly, the shift has already started. It may look like one conversation ending. It may look like a plan falling apart. It may look like silence from someone you thought would stay. It may look like a sudden courage to say no, or a strange calm while something you once feared begins to collapse. But beneath all of it, God is moving. He is rearranging the ground under your feet so that when the blessing lands, it does not land in the wrong environment. And if you have sensed this shifting lately, if people are changing, doors are closing, your spirit is becoming sharper, and your heart knows you cannot go backward, write one word in the comments: shift. Mark it, not for drama, but as a witness that you recognize the hand of God in the movement. Because signs alone are not enough. The next thing God requires from you is alignment. You cannot step into a new season while your hands are still gripping the remains of the old one. This is where the message becomes personal, not emotional in a shallow way, not inspirational for a moment, but personal enough to confront the places you have been avoiding. Because God can open the door, but He will not force you to walk through it while you are still dragging chains He already broke. There are names you keep replaying in your mind, conversations you keep resurrecting, disappointments you keep feeding, and old versions of yourself you keep defending because at least they feel familiar. But familiar does not always mean safe. Sometimes familiar is the cage you learn to decorate. Sometimes the thing you call just how I am is really a wound that has been sitting in the driver's seat for too long. God is not asking you to pretend it did not hurt. He is not asking you to erase your memory or smile your way through what broke you. He is asking you to stop letting yesterday's pain give instructions to tomorrow's promise. Alignment begins when you finally say, Lord, I will not carry what you are trying to remove. And this is not about performing holiness for people. This is about surrender in the hidden place. It is about choosing not to answer every accusation. It is about refusing to keep explaining yourself to people who benefit from misunderstanding you. It is about letting God close what your emotions still want to reopen. It is about trusting that if He removed access, He saw danger you were too loyal to admit. So, here is the practice I want you to take seriously within the next 24 hours. Find one quiet moment. Take a piece of paper, or open the notes in your phone, and write 3 questions before God. Lord, what are you asking me to release, Lord? What are you asking me to receive, Lord? What step of obedience must I take today? Do not rush the answer. Do not make it dramatic. Sit with it. Pray for 60 seconds if that is all you have. But pray honestly. Say, God, I surrender the old season. Make me ready for what you have already prepared. That simple prayer may look small, but heaven responds to surrendered ground. You do not need a stage for obedience to matter. You do not need everyone to understand your release for God to honor it. You may need to release resentment. You may need to receive peace. You may need to obey by apologizing, deleting, resting, forgiving, waiting, applying, creating, leaving, or finally beginning. God will make it clear. And when He does, do not negotiate with the instruction. Your next season is too sacred to be delayed by the comfort of an old pattern. You must not drag old chains into a new door. Readiness is not loud. Readiness is obedience. And once surrender begins, the next thing that comes is not confusion, it is confirmation. There are moments when God does not explain what happened to you. He simply confirms that He saw it. And for someone listening right now, that confirmation is the healing your heart has been starving for. Not another person telling you to get over it. Not another shallow sentence pretending the wound was small. Not another voice rushing you into strength before your soul has been allowed to breathe. No. Heaven is coming closer to the hidden place today, to the part of you that kept functioning while quietly breaking, to the part that learned how to smile in rooms where nobody knew you were carrying a storm. God saw the nights when your prayer had no beautiful words left in it. He saw when all you could do was sit there, exhausted, whispering His name because full sentences felt too heavy. He saw the betrayal you never fully explained, the disappointment you swallowed because explaining it would have reopened the wound, the loneliness that followed you even when people were around. And He is not confused about your story. People may have misunderstood the chapter they walked into, but God read every line. He saw the motive behind your silence. He saw the love behind your patience. He saw the obedience behind your restraint. He saw the way you wanted to defend yourself, but something deeper told you to stay still and let Him handle what your hands could not fix. That was not weakness. That was spiritual discipline under pressure. Do you understand how rare that is? To be hurt and still not become cruel. To be delayed and still not curse God. To be overlooked and still not sell your soul for attention. To be tired and still keep a small flame of faith alive inside your chest. Heaven is not ignoring that. Heaven is confirming it. The fire did not consume you because God was in it with you. The waters did not bury you because His hand was beneath your feet. Isaiah 43 carries this kind of promise, that when God's people pass through waters and fire, He is still with them. And that is exactly why you are still here. Not because the battle was light, but because the presence of God was stronger than the thing that tried to swallow you. Let this land in your spirit. Survival was not the final goal. Survival was the evidence. Evidence that grace was holding you. Evidence that your calling still had breath in it. Evidence that what tried to end you was never authorized to finish the work. God is saying, I was there when nobody checked on you. I was there when your strength ran out. I was there when you thought you had nothing left to give. And I did not let you disappear. This is why you cannot keep calling yourself damaged goods. You are not damaged goods. You are a living testimony with scars that now carry wisdom. What tried to bury you became the ground where your calling took root. What humiliated you gave birth to a humility that cannot be performed. What isolated you trained your ear to hear God without the noise of the crowd. Even the parts you thought were wasted have been gathered by the hands of the Redeemer. Nothing surrendered to God is lost. Not the tears, not the years, not the prayers, not the love you gave when it was not returned, not the obedience that cost you more than people will ever know. And now confirmation is rising around you. You may feel it as peace returning in small waves. You may feel it as courage you did not have before. You may feel it as a quiet refusal to hate yourself for what you survived. That is God healing your memory. That is heaven teaching your heart how to stand without bleeding on every new door. But listen carefully, because this confirmation is not just comfort, it is preparation. God is not only healing you so you can feel better, He is healing you so you can be sent. There is still oil on your life. There is still purpose in your name. There is still work assigned to your hands. And the next part matters deeply. Because you were not only saved from something, you were set apart for something. You were not rescued just so you could return to ordinary living with a little less pain. That is too small for what God has been doing in you. He did not carry you through the fire merely to make you comfortable again. He carried you through because there is an assignment connected to your survival. There is a reason your story did not end where it should have ended. There is a reason the betrayal did not poison your spirit completely. The delay did not kill your faith. And the silence did not make you walk away from God. You were saved from something. Yes. But you were also set apart for something. And that part is what many people resist. Because being set apart does not always feel glorious at first. Sometimes it feels like not fitting in. Sometimes it feels like losing interest in things everyone else still celebrates. Sometimes it feels like standing in a room full of people and realizing your spirit cannot breathe there anymore. You may have called it loneliness, but heaven called it separation. You may have called it being misunderstood, but God called it consecration. You may have wondered why you could not move like everyone else, choose like everyone else, compromise like everyone else, stay quiet about the things that grieved your spirit like everyone else. But listen, that difference was not a defect. It was a mark. God placed something in you that refuses to be satisfied with a shallow life. You are not strange. You are set apart. You are not behind. You are being positioned. And the blessing coming to you is not just about personal relief. It is about divine responsibility. God is not only blessing you to comfort you, He is blessing you to commission you. Your peace will become evidence for someone who thinks peace is impossible. Your healing will become a doorway for someone who believes their wound is the end of their story. Your obedience will become a signal in a generation that has been trained to worship convenience. This is why you cannot treat your life carelessly anymore. What God is placing on you is not entertainment. It is not a costume. It is not a temporary emotional high. It is holy weight. C. E.Z. Lewis, in the spirit of the weight of glory, reminds us that human beings are not casual creatures. Every soul carries eternal significance. And if that is true, then your obedience is not small. Your surrender is not small. The quiet decision you make when nobody is watching may carry more spiritual weight than the loud victory everyone applauds. God is calling you into a life where your steps matter, your words matter, your hidden choices matter, because the oil on your life is meant to touch more than your own future. But do not misunderstand this. Being sent by God does not mean you must become loud, famous, or visible to everyone. Sometimes being sent means becoming faithful in one house, one calling, one relationship, one act of courage, one prayer that changes the atmosphere around you. Sometimes your mission begins with becoming whole enough to stop bleeding on people who never wounded you. Sometimes it begins with building what God told you to build, forgiving what you keep rehearsing, speaking what fear told you to swallow, or walking away from what keeps pulling you beneath your calling. God is not asking you to be impressive. He is asking you to be available. He is asking for a heart that can say, "Use me, but keep me close to you. Elevate me, but keep me humble. Bless me, but do not let the blessing replace your voice." That is the posture of someone who can carry what is next. And if your spirit feels the seriousness of this, do not ignore it. The reason your old life feels too tight is because your assignment is expanding. The reason certain doors no longer excite you is because God is changing your appetite. The reason you feel both hope and trembling is because deep down, you know this is no longer just about receiving something from heaven. It is about becoming someone heaven can trust. And because you are being sent, the blessing coming toward you will require a new level of courage. The blessing is here. But you cannot walk into it with the old rhythm of fear still leading your steps. This is where many people become careless. They pray for the door. Then when the door opens, they carry the same panic, the same insecurity, the same need to prove themselves into the room God gave them. But you cannot let survival habits manage a promised season. What protected you in the wilderness may sabotage you in the place of favor if you do not let God teach you a new way to move. In the old season, you may have had to explain yourself quickly, defend yourself constantly, expect disappointment, prepare for rejection, and read every silence as danger. But in this new place, God is asking you to breathe before you react. Pray before you decide, listen before you speak, and discern before you attach. The blessing will require stewardship, not just excitement. It will require humility when doors begin to open. It will require wisdom when people suddenly notice what they ignored before. It will require silence when heaven has not given you permission to announce everything. Do not expose the seed because you are hungry for applause. Do not announce what God told you to nurture. Some things must grow in quiet before they can survive public attention. Let me tell you with love, not everyone who celebrates your open door is assigned to walk through it with you. Some people are curious, not committed. Some are watching, not praying. Some want access to the harvest, but they never respected the soil where God broke and rebuilt you. So move differently. Love people, but do not hand them the map to every sacred thing God is doing in you. Be kind, but do not confuse kindness with unlimited access. Be generous, but do not become spiritually careless with what heaven told you to guard. God is not making you suspicious. He is making you mature. The old version of you may have needed validation, but the new version must be led by obedience. The old version may have rushed to prove worth, but the new version must rest in identity. The old version may have feared being misunderstood, but the new version must trust that God can defend what He called. This is the courage your next season demands, the courage to remain soft without being naive, humble without shrinking, confident without pride, quiet without fear, and obedient without needing everyone to understand. The promise is not asking you to become someone artificial. It is asking you to become more surrendered, more steady, more anchored in God than you have ever been. So when the door opens, do not bow to it. Walk through it with the one who opened it. Do not let old fear become the gatekeeper of a new promise. The blessing is here, but the old version of you cannot lead it. And now listen carefully, because the final secret many people miss is this: what looks like a reward from God may first arrive as a responsibility. The final secret is this: the promise may not first arrive feeling like a reward. It may arrive looking like responsibility. It may come as a phone call you did not expect, a conversation you have been avoiding, a door that opens but requires courage, a relationship that must be handled with maturity, an opportunity that demands discipline, or a quiet instruction from God that makes your flesh uncomfortable but gives your spirit peace. This is where many people miss Him. They expect the blessing to feel easy from the first moment. They expect comfort, applause, instant clarity. and a road with no tension. But sometimes, heaven sends the answer in a form that stretches you before it celebrates you. Sometimes the miracle begins as obedience. Sometimes the breakthrough begins with a yes you whisper while your hands are still trembling. Sometimes